In today's video, I am going to be breaking down some easy 4-out, 1-in basketball plays that you can run with really young basketball teams. Another offense that you can run with really young basketball teams is the 5-out, so definitely go check out my complete guide to the 5-out offense down in the description below as well. Okay, so the benefit to the 5-out or the 4-out offense is the fact that it's just so easy to run in most cases. The idea here is to have basically players running four corners and then one player in the high, or you could also do the low post as well. I prefer the high post at the youth level because it gives a lot of options for this player to pass to, for one, but also what we're doing here is promoting spacing the floor, because when you're looking at 7, 10, or even 11-year-olds who are just starting to play basketball, they generally all want to clump together and say, pass the ball, I want the ball, give me the ball, pass. So because of that, what we're looking to do is spread the court and have a player in the high post. This would be good if you have one really big player and you can get him the ball. So I run this with one of my teams, actually most of my teams this first play, and we're going to have player 1 pass player 5 the ball and cut to the basket. Now the difference between this play at the younger level and the older level is at the youth level, I mean like really young, I usually just have one player cut and then have player 2 fill out and player 1 fill out, just like a 5-out pass and cut. If you pass to the right side, you fill out left. And this works extremely well because now with player 2 popping and player 1 cutting, this gives player 5 multiple options to pass the ball to. This also, depending on if his defender drops off to play help on the cut, then this could open up a lane for player 5 to drive as well. Now, player 5, when he passes the ball out, if he passes the ball out to 2 or 4, at the younger level, I would just have him cut to the basket. If he gets that ball, then, of course, if he's open, get him the ball. If not, then he fills back up to the high post. At the a little bit older level, so like I would say grade 7 and above, if player 5 passes out, he would then set a screen for that player he passed to. Player 4 would then use that screen. Player 5 would then roll off of that screen and in theory could be open for the layup. This then, with my U14 team, flows into having a pass to this side and a dribble handoff for player 4. This is usually David, who is a 60% three-point shooter. And if you don't believe me, I've been posting a lot about him on Instagram. At Al's B-Ball is my Instagram. You can see a lot of videos of my teams playing there, but he would come off of that dribble handoff and usually jack the 3. Another great 4-out play that you can run at the really young level is just a simple back screen on player 1. If you're allowed to set screens in your league, I know there are some leagues around the world at the younger levels you're not allowed to set screens, but if you're allowed to set screens, set a back screen, player 1 will then drive, and what you're hoping for is coming off of this back screen, player 5 going to the elbow or the free throw line, and then what you are hoping for is either player 4 or player 3 to drop off so that player 1 can kick that ball out. Now, of course, depending on the level that you're coaching, you may not have high percentage three-point shooters, but I always like to still promote those shots with my U11 team, my under 11 team. In the States, that would be classified as under 10. And that would be mainly because my guys, even though we're like 22 to 25% three-point shooters as a team, I still want to promote that so that next year when our shooting percentage goes up, if we have that situation where we can kick it out, I want them taking that shot, because next year, if we go through the trainings that I have set up for them, they should be 30+% three-point shooters, which means that we will be destroying teams. But again, when it comes to these younger teams, we need to be promoting spacing the floor. There are way too many young players who just want to clump together, and that's why I like 5-out and 4-out offenses. And this next 4-out is another simple one that you can run. So we're going to have player 5 with the ball, and player 1's going to have a couple of different options. First off, The pass over here, while could be there, I would say that would be the third choice and not the first, because this is a very risky pass. The reason being is because now player 2 is in position to be able to steal it, and if he does steal that ball, there's 0 players to play defense on him on the way back, and it's an easy basket. The number 1 choice would be the high post. Number 2 choice would be the player in the corner. And now anytime a player gets that ball, so let's say player 1 passes to player 4, player 5 is going to set a back screen for player 1, and player 1 is going to then cut to the basket. This should be a wide open pass for player 4 to make and could result in a ton of layups. If player 1 was instead to pass to player 5, I would then have player 5 run a dribble handoff with player 1, getting player 1 that ball, rolling to the basket on the left side of the key, player 1 driving down the right side, and this may put player 5's defender in a 2-on-1 situation, or this could drop off a help defender, where in this case, we could kick it out for, again, a 3-point shot. Again, I always want to promote shooting with my team, even though they are not that 30%, 34% 3-point shooting team. I still want to promote shooting. There is nothing worse than getting a player, as a coach myself, who I had this really bad in the summer, where I got a whole bunch of players who were players who I have trained in the past. I've trained them to shoot really well. They're very, very good 3-point shooters. Most of them are over that 34% mark. And yet they continuously at the beginning of the summer season were not shooting threes. They were not shooting shots, and they were continuously trying to drive into a double or triple team because their previous coach said to them that they never want to see them shoot threes. They only want to see them drive to the basket because a layup is a high percentage shot. When in reality, it's actually not as high percentage as you may think. So if you're continuously driving the ball to the basket, then that defense is going to say, okay, we're either going to be playing you for the drive and leaving you wide open to shoot, or we're going to be playing a 2-3 zone very tight inside the key so that when you do drive, we're going to have 3 guys on you and there is absolutely nothing you can do. So if that's the case with coaching, then I want to promote shooting, because now, even though we are a under 25% shooting team for my U11 team, they're U10 in the States because the age groups are different. But at that level, I still want to promote shooting for the future. But if we're looking at 25% shooting or 23% shooting from 3 versus maybe 10 or 12% going in for layups because it's contested, I would much rather have that open 20% shot versus an under 20% layup, because that over 20% shot is going to be an extra point on the board. Plus, it's now stretching out the defense so that now when that player gets that ball, there's going to be a player who's going to be sprinting out to cover that shot, which opens up gaps for other players to cut or for that player to drive. That's my way of thinking anyways. I hope that you've enjoyed. Make sure to go check out my complete guide to the 5-out offense down below, and I'll see you guys again next time.